Welcome to this week's blogging video. Today's video is all about blog hosts and specific ones that I've used in the pros and cons. I'm being super blunt about my opinion on the two different hosts that I've used, the pros and the major cons that come with both of them. And since every single blog needs to have a host, this is a super relevant topic that we get a ton of questions on, and I'm really excited to dive into it. A super quick background. My name's Sophia. I have the blog by Sophia Lee. I started it 6 years ago, which is insane. And in the last 6 years, I've turned it into a 7-figure blog. I have a team of 9 of us working on it now, which is just absolutely insane. And there is a lot that I have learned, and that is really what this YouTube's for, is me helping newer bloggers and bloggers just need help with things, because there were so many things that I needed help with and there really weren't any resources out there. One of the biggest things that I needed help with was setting up my blog, and with setting up a blog, I learned that you have WordPress, but then you also have a blogging host. So those two things are separate, but they go hand in hand with each other. And the only way that I recommend you starting a blog, this is like super important, is that you have a self-hosted WordPress blog. So the self-hosted part of it is what we're talking about today. I always say that hosted is like you're renting an apartment, and self-hosted is something that you own. You own the house, it's yours, and you have so much more control over it. So I've used 2 hosts. I've used Bluehost and I've used BigScoots. Bluehost specifically is very well known in the industry, and I'll go over, Bluehost has like really good things and really bad things that come along with it. So I'll go over all of that. And then currently we're with BigScoots. It's not because, I guess I'll just get to it right away, is the reason that we switched over to BigScoots was because we were getting too many views on our blog, and Bluehost can really only handle a certain number of page views. So I'm gonna get into all of those pros and cons. I have my little computer with all of my notes, and I think this will be really helpful if you are debating between the two. Also, side note, there's obviously other hosts out there, but these are the 2 most reputable and popular ones that I have seen used throughout all different types of bloggers. So that's what I recommend to you, and I'll tell you at what phase I recommend them for. So let's start with Bluehost. The reason why I started with Bluehost, and I still recommend new bloggers to start with it, is because Bluehost is by far the cheapest host that you can get out there. It's like $2 a month or something crazy like that. And I strongly believe that when you start a blog, you should be trying to do it in the least expensive way as humanly possible. There are so many people that try to start a blog, they get into it, they spend a lot of money, and then they decide it's not for them, and then you've just wasted all of that money. So I did the same exact thought process for my blog when I first started. I took it very seriously from the beginning, but I was a broke college student. I was paying for everything on my own. I did not have money to spend, and I knew from just doing all my research that it was super important that I had a self-hosted WordPress blog, and the cheapest way for me to do that was to get on Bluehost. I was on Bluehost like 5 years ago, and I had my blog on Bluehost for about 3 years. For those 3 years, it was really good. I would say for the first 2 years, it was really good. One, because it was just so cheap. Like it was, it's $2 a month. I think it was like $2.95 or something like that a month. So that was like the biggest pro of it. At the time, they had really good customer service as well. So I was able to call someone, I was able to message someone, and they would be able to help me out because it's really confusing to set up a blog. I will say, from feedback that I have seen on videos and from feedback that I've just been getting like in the last year or 2, is that their customer service has majorly gone downhill. So that is the biggest con that people are now saying for Bluehost. Biggest pro, how cheap it is. Biggest con is the customer service. Like I said, I didn't experience that because I don't know if it was just a smaller company at that point, or they had better people working on it, or I don't know, but I was always able to call someone and message them, and that was actually like one of my pros for why I liked them so much, and it's really unfortunate that's now one of the cons. So think about that and just mentally prepare and know like, okay, you're spending so much less money, but you're also getting a lot less customer service, which can be super frustrating when you're confused on how to do something. Another thing that I like about Bluehost is that it is really beginner friendly. So because so many new bloggers are going that direction, they really have everything dumbed down. So even though the customer service apparently sucks, which I want to take out apparently, because so many people say that it does, that I like believe them at this point, but they have so much information and so many like step-by-steps on how to do things, because everyone's just so new, that really like there is resources out there for you to figure things out. It's obviously so much easier to talk to a human being, but I do really like the fact that it's super easy to use. It's pretty foolproof, and they have it set up specifically for beginners. And my last point about them, I should have said this from the very beginning, is that I always say that Bluehost is like the Walmart version of hosting. So Bluehost is the Walmart version, Target is BigScoots, which is what I'm on right now. And then you have like Nordstrom, which is what I would consider to be like, you have your own host, which that costs like so much money. Like I will never have my own host because it costs so much money. So that's the different levels. So just like when you walk into Walmart, you are understanding, I'm at Walmart, I'm not at a high-end store. This is the quality that I'm going to be getting. It can completely work for everything that I need it to do, but it's not a luxury experience. So those are my pros and cons with Bluehost. I really do think that, and this is why I still talk about it and recommend it on my blog and just on my how to start a blog page. I recommend that you use Bluehost because you just can't beat the price, and it gives you what you need. Like you don't need the frou-frou. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need it to be able to handle a lot of views yet. And so it can just get you to the place where eventually when you're making more money, you can go to a more expensive and a better host. But in the beginning, you just don't want to spend that type of money. All right, now moving on to BigScoots. So we switched over to BigScoots like 3 years, I switched over to BigScoots like 3 years after I started my blog with Bluehost. And I debated it for probably a year. I could tell that my website was getting slower. And the more research that I did on just how to make my website faster, the more I kept coming back to, I need to switch hosts. So I started researching again. I'm a huge researcher, and the big bloggers that I was following that I knew were getting millions of views a year, they were using BigScoots. So I reached out to them. I got a quote. It is dramatically more expensive than Bluehost. Like I pay thousands of dollars a year for BigScoots, but it is a completely different experience. So, and that's hard. It's a completely different experience from what I'm hearing Bluehost is like today. For BigScoots, my website runs so much faster. We still have some issues with how fast the website runs, which they're saying that I need to up to a even more expensive, like still within BigScoots, but another level of theirs, which just raises it so much that I'm honestly just dragging my feet on it. But I'm still happy with the site speed. And I would say the biggest thing that I'm happy with is that customer service that comes with BigScoots. So I can literally call someone, I can message someone, and I get a response within 30 minutes. I've had times where I've had crises where my website has completely shut down for whatever reason, and they have a 24/7 hotline, and I'm able to call them. Or I put in a plugin that screwed something up, and they can go back and revert my website to what it was that morning. Like they are just super helpful with helping us figure out things that are wrong on our website and things just that aren't making sense. They know the back end of it, which I know nothing about, and they are great at explaining what's going on and how to fix it. Another thing about BigScoots was that they helped the transition from Bluehost over to BigScoots super seamlessly. Like they handled all of that background switch over, which I was super nervous about because obviously that's a big change, and they made that transition really nice and easy. So that is, I mean, I have really liked my path that I've taken with hosts of going from Bluehost And then when I was making enough money where I could make it make sense to switch over to BigScoots, I'm very happy with BigScoots. I know from reading what people are experiencing on Bluehost right now that customer service is so much better on BigScoots. But again, you pay for a lot more, so it should be better. Both of them offer unlimited storage. They both offer email hosting, which I don't use the email hosting, but just something to say. They both say they offer 24/7 customer support. You know my opinion on that one. They both have SSL certificates and one-click WordPress installation. However, the quality of all of those are obviously Bluehost is here, BigScoots is here. So that's my little 2 cents. I feel like that was more just like a rant on what I think about both of them. I will say it is slightly frustrating with BigScoots just how much money we pay, and sometimes when we do come with issues, they're like, you need to pay more money to make it work, which I know it's how it works, but still I'm just like, oh, I already pay so much money. So both of them have their pros and cons, just like any other service that you would be looking at 2 other places for. But I think there's a time and a place for both of them, and hopefully that was helpful with whatever time or place you are in for your blog. Make sure to check out my blogging courses. I have 3 blogging courses. Read the comments of the YouTube videos. People who have taken them are so nice to comment their reviews and what they think about them, and they can be really, really helpful when you are starting your blog, or even when you're a few years into your blog, on just learning how I do things and my exact strategies and exactly where I place certain words and my SEO and how I use Pinterest and my email and all of that type of thing. So definitely check that out. The link is in the description. I do videos. I try to do videos every other week, sometimes even once a week. So make sure to subscribe, and I will see you at next week's blogging video.